All right, I think this thing is finally starting to work here. We've been having a little bit of issues here. Let's see if the video pops up. Oh, there we go. We finally got it. I don't know why we had some problems getting this streamed. I did a video tonight with Rusty Strait and Mark Lentine. We were supposed to have an interview with Linda Krupa and the Hemet Police and Fire Association, but seemed like Linda Krupa has been trying to avoid us. She wanted to do her own video. They don't want none of our questions. I don't know. I guess they're just afraid of us getting the truth out. I don't know. But anyways, we did find out some more information tonight that we're going to be revealing about this Measure H deal. But you know, my goal of high volume. Okay, let me see if I can fix this volume real quick here. Let me just jack it up. There we go. I just got home. I'm actually making me a cup of coffee right now so I can get this video out on YouTube. We were actually live on actioninews.com, but we do have a lot of viewers that follow us on Facebook, but not on YouTube, and not on Facebook. So I'm actually going to. I downloaded the video. I'm going to bring it to you guys on our YouTube platform. And I do have one person that is definitely wanting to watch this video. I'm going to make sure that he's getting that. But we had like a 50-minute video tonight. We all showed up to the studio. We were expecting to do an interview with Councilman Linda Krupa, but this is second decline. So I don't know what's up with them. They just don't want to be on our platform. And I guess they're afraid of questions that we're going to ask when it comes to the fire and police getting the correct money. You know, the police and fire know we would support them, but we want to make sure this Measure H money that is going to be, you know, taxed to our city people, that this money is going to go to our fire like they deserve, and the money goes to our police department like they deserve, because they're the ones that need it. They don't be needed to be like Measure U and actually put into a savings account and just hold it. That's not helping our police and fire. We're supposed to have so many boots on the ground. Well, you know, a lot of it, we didn't get the boots on the ground by our police because we had a lazy city manager. Well, we got that took care of right now. So we want to make sure that our police department and fire department gets this money, and not this money just set into an account somewhere and just say, hey, we got that money. You know, we want to make sure it goes directly to who deserves this money and needs it. And our police and our fire needs this money, not in just a savings account and hold it up. So even though that we showed up for the interview, nobody else showed up. I'm going to go ahead and play you what took place tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you guys. And hopefully the volume is going to do good. I will be watching the comments on that. So I'm going to take my ugly screen off and put up the video with Rusty Strait.
Look at you make it.
I slept with my head between them several times.
Well, you heard what Rusty said. I didn't say that, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, tonight is the show for Rusty Strait.
We're on.
Oh my God!
We were on.
I told him the mics were hot. We're live, so you got the sneak peek
That's
behind the
like
scenes.
saying the only thing that's hot.
They're going to be out of town tomorrow.
We're actually talking about
Lord.
the pictures behind us, so I'll let Rusty
Yeah, I'll
kind of talk about those
I'll bring it up.
pictures. But anyways, I do want to introduce Ray Strait. Everybody knows him by Rusty. He's a book writer. He's got so many books out. He's also a senior editor.
38th book out, and
38th.
it's his first novel.
I'm a senior reporter with San Jacinto.
I was trying to
San
get to
Jacinto
that.
Valley
Yeah,
Chronicle.
exactly. I was trying to get that. So,
Yeah, I know. We
you took the
struggle
words
with-
out of my mouth.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That's what happens.
But everybody
sometimes.
loves you, Rusty. You've been around here, what, 900 years
Well, I was
or
going to
something?
single out everybody.
He was a waiter.
Well, yeah, you do have some haters. We know
I don't
that,
want to
right?
say Rusty is the senior.
Anybody that gets in the limelight at all is going to have haters.
I don't want to say Rusty's a
Water
senior
on a duck's
reporter,
back.
but Rusty was a waiter at the Last Supper. So
At the Last Supper, right?
That's why they're all dead.
So how old are you now, Rusty?
I'll be 99 in May.
99.
Yeah.
Wow, and you're so active, man.
Well-
99 years old. What do you eat or drink, dude?
Very little.
Yeah, right. He, just,
I sometimes
he
forget
does.
to eat.
We got to
I
remind
think
him
people
to
eat too much.
We have to remind him. Hey, Rusty, did you drink enough water today? I'm always on him. I bought him a water cooler. I mean, he's got a because he just is on the go so much. He literally forgets to eat and drink. He just
have heard an old saying, and I think it. They say there's more fat on the streets than all the hog farms in Iowa.
I've heard that one before.
Well,
That's
it's
a long
true.
old saying right there.
We are an overweight
Arkansas,
country,
Right?
and I'm part of. Not part of it.
Not
Yeah, not part of it.
He's part up. He's not hard up. You see what he had in the background. But.
Yeah, but I would like to say something before we get started here, because it's going to bubble over, and I don't want to get any more angrier than I am right now.
I know you're pissed off more than a wet hen right now. What happened, Russ?
Well, there was the police head of the police union. Is that the police union was supposed to be here tonight?
Well, we were supposed to have Linda Krupa.
Yes.
We were supposed to have the
then-
Hemet Police Association and the Fire Association.
And
All
then
right.
secondarily,
All right.
Carly Meyer, right? And she didn't.
Yeah,
show
I
up
think
either.
she was going. Nobody showed up.
Well, I don't know about Carly, but I understand that she flaked out yesterday. She flaked out again today, and
You mean Linda?
Linda, yes.
Right.
From what I've heard, I don't know the facts and I don't know the reason why, but I know one thing: somebody in her campaign said that we did the interview yesterday with John Petty,
Right.
that I had been fed questions. I've
By
been
John
doing-
Petty, right? Or
that when we were talking John Petty, that I had been fed the questions to ask him. And I'll tell you something. I'm almost 99 years old, and I've been doing this stuff for 65, 70 years, and I'm internationally known as a writer and
Right.
journalist, and I resent anybody insinuating that I would do that. And the second thing I'd like to say, let the public know, I didn't even know you wanted me to come here and help do with the interview until an hour before it happened.
Right, I put it together
Right.
last night. What? When did you and I talk? 5, 6 o'clock, something
Yeah.
like
Well,
that.
and then you
And
called me, and,
so-
and I hustled right over here.
Yeah, you didn't know a thing.
I had no idea, and John didn't know that I was coming.
No.
exactly.
I will-
Nobody
And
knew
so
you
I
were.
resent anybody saying anything about my integrity, because I don't mix my personal feelings with my business. It's
And-
just not what I do.
Well, you're Rusty Strait. You're straight as an arrow. You tell
Well,
it as it is.
listen,
And he doesn't play any
I've done
games.
thousands of interviews, and nobody ever told me what to ask people.
Exactly. You're like me. I freestyle. Did you see a notepad in front of me?
Yes,
I heard
no,
my
freestyle, dude. No,
I brought
no,
one with me tonight just to make
Well,
sure.
with it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's my handwriting, so you know it's not somebody else's.
Yeah. And I will vouch for you. John Petty did not know you were coming.
No, and
called
I didn't
you
know
at the last
I didn't
minute.
know until the last minute.
Exactly.
So I resent
Let
it.
me just jump in and say one thing.
ahead, Mark.
I don't know if you introduced me, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, this is Mark Crazy Guy right here. He's the crazy guy
I'm
with
the
a straight
second
eye,
crazy.
right?
I'm the second. I'm the straight. That's about the only thing to say.
I
I better not do.
He's my buddy.
But wait, yeah, I love him dearly. But let me tell you, so you can see here, anybody can see it. I'm watching the Phillies, right? Because anybody who knows me knows I was born and raised in Philly. I have homework here from I'm going for my master's degree. I was doing homework.
What did you do to your tablet?
No, that's just the cover.
Oh, okay. You
So
dropped that.
I wasn't even. Rusty called me about 5:30.
Yeah.
And said, I got some stuff to show you. Come on, you got to run over here. So for Rusty and for you, I drop everything, even the Phillies.
It looks like you dropped that, too.
I dropped. No, I didn't actually. It's in good shape. But what I'm getting at is simply this. Rusty just showed me information 15, 20 minutes before we drove here, which is supposed to start at 7 o'clock, that I think is going to blow the whole skein and makeup of this legislative body known as our city council to smithereens, because I think what you're going to hear, that Rusty's breaking it. It's not me. I wasn't even, my hair. I wasn't even supposed to be here. Rusty asked me to be here, and you asked me, come on. I have no problem with that. But what you're about to hear, I think, is going to blow up a decade to 2 decades of malaise, ineptitude, and corruption. What Rusty has, I've seen one part of it. I have not seen the letter you sent that to your Michael.
I sent the
Peterson.
letter to my editor.
Okay, so and we're not
That's
trying
at the
to.
Valley Chronicle.
You're right.
So
So
we see, I got a letter
So-
in the mail from San Jacinto.
let's jump into it. So real quick, but let me just finish what I'm saying. Rusty said, I'm gonna be talking about this tonight when I face Linda, and then when we got here, we thought it was going to be Carla since Linda backed out. It's interesting. She keeps backing out. She doesn't want to talk to John. John is the most affable guy and approachable guy you can ever find.
See, it's better she didn't want to talk to me.
And we go, well, and you bathed for it too. You took a bath. You said you used deodorant, so I don't know why she
I
didn't
know,
want to talk to
right?
you.
I use
Let's
an
say
expensive
straight.
deodorant
Let's
for it.
set
No,
things
wait,
straight.
let me just say
Well, let me
one-
finish this first.
Go ahead.
It's not a secret that I support John.
No.
I did an editorial on it. Has nothing to do with my questioning of it.
And the information you got.
I
which is
asked
explosive.
him some questions. I think he was probably uncomfortable with, but that's
Well,
the way
that's
it
what
is.
you're supposed to do. But here's the thing that I'm getting at. I like John. I will say publicly, if he sees us, I think he's a bit pompous, but I do like him. But one thing I can tell you about John, in every single dealing that I've ever had with him, and whether people love him or hate him, what I've always heard, you may not always like what he does, but every time that I've seen John, he's been totally honest. And with what you're about to say, we're going to talk about today, I think it calls into question. I would say, this is from me, not from Rusty. I'm speaking for myself. I think it calls into question everybody, but Malcolm Lilienthal and Joe Males, with what you're about to tell us. So now that I've said that, you talked about the fact that they tried to say that somebody's been doing this about 70 years was suddenly fed questions, which is bullshit. But
Yeah.
I can't stand,
really
which is
angered
why
me.
I don't do much in this town, because I cannot stand these little internecine words. If I talk with Joe Blow, then I must hate Fred Flintstone, who hates Joe Blow.
Hey,
and all
now
this
Fred
stuff.
was my favorite character.
Well, he
cartoon
was. I had
character.
the hots for
Well,
Wilma.
be
I know
careful.
Wilma was hot. I mean,
Barney
well,
was-
she looks better than this girl right here.
Barney was kind of cute too. But tell us now from the inception, which you just showed me the list, which I think is the more explosive of the two things, and the letter. What can you tell us about the letter? All I'll say is, Rusty, you got an anonymous letter some time ago. Last week, was it?
Last week.
Okay, with a list of the obscene, and I am saying massively wasteful and totally obscene,
And I am hoping
overtime.
that
in
it will
this
be
city.
published in the paper by tomorrow when the paper
Well,
comes.
hopefully,
Well, you got the power to do that.
But I'll tell
Well,
you
I
something
sent it
else.
to my editor.
Somebody sent me something that said, Carly said, well, we just couldn't hire these. Man, that is such bullshit. When you see this list that Rusty has and you hear the money was, what I got to say, again, Matthew McPherson and people in his camp said the money was going to be wasted. You look at the massive, total waste of overtime. I'm going to ask you in a second, but I saw things like Joe Blow. It wouldn't say a person's name, but it would say like chief of police or whoever. $150,000 a year salary, another $150,000 in overtime. Guy's making $300,000, half of his pay is from overtime. So tell us about what happened. Give us the whole background to the list and the letter. Go ahead. Go.
The list, the 2021 city payroll, the whole thing, police, fire, and
Got it.
Everything else.
You got a list of that?
Yeah, I got a list of it.
Okay.
And right at the top.
Do you know where you got the list?
No, yeah, I know where I got it. No, but it's
what came in an anonymous letter. What I'm saying is, you don't know.
No, I got the list from somebody.
But you don't.
But if he tells you, he'll have to kill you.
Well, you said it was from an anonymous.
No, the letter was from an anonymous person.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
The list. There was the two top captains on the list were making about $123,000, $24,000, $25,000 a year, but they were having $135,000 in overtime.
And I saw this list. There were mechanics. Let's say it was $55,000.
Everybody got big raises.
Another $30,000 in overtime. So the money was there, and I got to say, Matthew and I hadn't seen him in a year until City Council about 6-7 weeks ago. He's always been a friend. I just have to say it like it is. He was right on the money that this was going to be wasted.
Yes, he was.
And it's totally been wasted. And these people have the balls. Am I allowed to say that?
I don't.
You
Jealous stuff you already did.
I'm sitting there driving by. I'm thinking, yes, on H. Are you fucking insane? You got the balls to waste millions of dollars from the city. If you listen closely enough, you can hear it circling down the drain. And you're going,
well, my argument with
it's insane.
My argument with H is that they said we have to hurry up and get this thing passed, or we're not going to be able to fund the police. The thing doesn't expire in 2027 because it was for 10 years, and it's only been 5 years. We got another 5 years to go on it.
4.5 to be exact.
Exactly.
Under what?
So
Under
we're going to
you?
probably have another $65 or $70 million coming up in that time.
Under Measure U.
Under Measure U.
Okay.
And it would sunset, and we could decide whether it was not supposed to be a permanent thing. It was supposed to be sunset in 10 years. That when we got the police up to par, it was a supplement because the general fund funds the police department. It was to bring on more boots on the street, and every city around us has brought in boots on the street except us.
And you and I.
Where has that money gone?
Now I didn't know why you would ask me.
It was put in a savings account. They're saving it.
Yeah, for who?
For who, right? Linda Krupa, maybe?
Who knows?
He's pretty shrewd
because she can't come to our interviews.
Because tonight he tells me, he springs on me, this is why I asked you to do this work before I drove him here. Because I love Rusty dearly. So he said, I need you to do a little investigation, and I'll be doing it too. And we looked up, and you can back me up on this. He didn't tell me why, and I didn't ask. It's Rusty or you. I drop, and I go do whatever you need. So I looked up the new trucks, the feet on the ground personnel in the fire department, in the police departments of every Banning, Beaumont, Menifee, Temecula. We found between us, 2 dozen, 3 dozen? Through COVID, the beginning of COVID, the middle of COVID, the end of COVID, they were hiring, they were doing new and innovative things. Except
you know why?
Except one city. You want to take a guess what city didn't? Yeah.
San
Jacinto leaped. They had all kinds of things going on. We had zero.
You know
we
why?
Had nothing.
I can tell you why.
Go ahead.
You want to know why?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to know why?
Yeah.
Because we had a city manager that was worthless and tits on a boar hog.
We don't do well with city managers. We've had about 10 or 12 the last 20 years.
Tits on a boar hog?
Exactly. I mean,
what is tits on a boar
hog? Ask
hog?
Rusty, he'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, no. We listen. My argument with Linda Krupa is, when she was elected, they said that's the year they passed 12 years. But it didn't take effect for 2 years. The spirit of the law says that she wouldn't have run for a third term. But she did, and she used that loophole. That
loophole.
Yes.
Loophole.
And
she got it by the lip.
Yeah. No, she used that. And I've known Linda for a long time. We were founding members of the Library Foundation.
Right.
And she is not the same person she was then. And she's been a part of this. What can she say that she can do that she hasn't already
She's been
done?
right in the teeth of it.
John Petty brings something new to them, and we need some new blood
Look
on.
what happened with Joe Mails.
Yeah.
Well, they
and that was a $40,000 that was wasted. That need not be. And Linda is the one that caused that.
Now, so here's my question.
I got more.
What can you divulge to
yours,
us? Now, I saw the list. And I'll tell you, like I said, it was city dishwashers making $30,000 a year. All of a sudden, they were making an extra $15,000 a year in overtime. I'm like, I want a job at the city. All you got to do is do nothing, collect your base salary, and you're also collecting.
Well, that's what they did with this money.
Right.
Much of this money went
just wasted
for raises, some equipment. I grant you that, and some people say we didn't need.
No, I saw the list. So now tell me, what can you tell us about the letter that you said that you sent to Michael Peterson?
Oh, I got a letter.
Go ahead. And this was when? When did you get it?
Oh, about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
I got a letter from someone from San Jacinto, postmarked San Jacinto, and envelope. And I didn't know who it is.
We're right.
And
I
I opened it, and it was a letter from some guy who says, I guess it was a guy, didn't say. But
was it addressed to that have a return name and address?
No, it didn't. It just had San Jacinto, California.
And not signed by any person?
No.
Okay.
It was a typed signature.
Okay.
And he said, whoever it was, I think it must have been a man, but he said he knew me, and that's why he couldn't give me the name. Well, I know a lot of people in the city. Yeah.
Or supposedly his name.
And that he was retiring in 3 or 4 more years, and didn't want to get fired before his pension
if he had let you know who
if he let me know. If his name got out. He was
right.
worried about his...
But he said he knew you.
He said he knew me.
Now,
and he said he would like to sit down and talk with me, but under the circumstances, he couldn't.
Now, interestingly enough, he talked about what he and his coworkers thought about not only ineptitude, but corruption in the council. But then he mentioned, did you say Bell or San Jacinto from years ago? That was that they said it's going to be, or he said it's.
Oh, he mentioned Bell. He was originally from Bell, California. He said he was originally from Bell,
All right,
and
'cause
they'd
I
had their
remember you saying,
problems
so I'm
down
trying-
there.
Right, I'm just trying to get out what
Yeah,
you told me before.
well,
All right, so Bell, okay.
But he
And
said
what did
he said the city was corrupt from the bottom up, and he said the only reason he didn't come out and say it and use his name to say it, that he could testify to it and show validity, was he was afraid of getting fired and losing his pension.
Now, you had said to me that this list, and I don't know whether it was done to cover you, but you had said that the list that you got with the overtime was in there as well.
No, I
And
got the list from the overtime somewhere
Okay,
else.
all right. So now you get this list. You had that, and then you get this letter. Is that the sort of timeline? You got the letter.
I got
last week or
I
the
got
week and
the list of the 2021 payroll for the city.
and then about a week and a half ago, you
And
got this
then
letter.
I got the
Do
letter.
you recall anything else from the letter?
Well, it was just telling how corrupt the city was, and that they hired city managers didn't know what to do, that they weren't doing any oversight on the city manager, and just let them. They had. He talked about the lawyer that they fired that was overcharging them.
Oh.
Eric Vale, he said that they were overcharging him, and he had at 1 year it was something like $1.5 million, and they had to pull him back.
Okay, and did he mention any other names that you can mention?
No,
No.
I'm not going to mention names because.
So okay, I'm just going to ask.
If the shoe fits, wear it. If it
Yeah.
don't apply, let
Well,
it
the
fly.
thing
so
was,
there were or weren't
as far as
names?
I'm concerned, it was hearsay. But he sounded like somebody that knew what he was talking about.
Okay.
Now-
so now tell us more, if you can, about the overtime. I know you have a little list of things you want to talk about. But
Well, the overtime, that's what I can tell you about. I just think a lot of money was spent.
may I look?
Yes.
I'll just feed you some of the questions.
I expect you can't read my handwriting.
Well, it says it looks like a prescription for something. So
No.
it's just, yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Go with it.
The first one is the difference between Measure A and U and Measure. See, they defeated Measure E, which would have been strictly for put it in a separate account, the money, a separate account, and it has to pass by 2/3 vote, and it didn't get to 2/3 vote. That's why they came back with Measure U. Now, Measure U was earmarked for the public safety, but it was in the general fund, but it wasn't going to be spent for anything else. This one doesn't have any limits on what they can do with it. They
So
put it in
once
the
they put it
general
in the
fund.
general fund,
It can go in the general
can do
fund.
whatever you
it
want
can
with
it disappear. It can disappear.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it won't.
And apparently, from what you're saying, money has already disappeared.
Well,
on
it's
some-
the money. Nobody has any accountability here.
Right.
What we need in this town is a forensic audit, an audit that will go
that's a
through,
great- yeah.
go through the thing and decide.
That's a
And
great
for an outside firm,
Right,
not
so
the
an
one they
outside
usually hire, somebody completely not connected with the city of Hemet.
Well, when I was
And that's
running-
what it's supposed to be.
When I was
Well, that's
running-
well.
when I was
we know
running the paper, and I
everything
talked-
isn't like it's supposed
when
to
I was
be.
running the paper and I talked to the auditor in Sacramento, and now this is not that long ago, it's only about 2 years ago, and they said the city essentially was a joke, and that was 2 years ago.
Well, I can tell
And
you something.
I can go back in my notes and tell you, guarantee you what they
several
said.
years ago,
So-
2008, I think was when the recession hit here. Linda Krupa did an interview with Atlantic Magazine, and they were talking about the poorest cities and the hardest hit cities in the recession. And Hemet was in, and they stated in the article, in the interview he had with her, his conclusion was that Hemet would never recover from the recession. And obviously it hasn't. It's been so mismanaged. Small business suffers under this.
Let me ask
And
you-
Linda Krupa has been on this council
I
for
was just
12
gonna-
years.
that's what I was
And
just gonna
all the
ask you.
things that went on, she was there. She was part of the scene.
So not Carly, not Joe Mills, not Russ
No,
Brown,
no.
not
Linda's
Malcolm,
the only one
Linda.
that's been there that long.
Okay, yeah.
And the thing is, she should get out and let somebody else in for new blood, because what we need in this town is new management. We just don't have it.
As I said, John, love him or hate him, and you and I had talked about this, that we know people who know John, who have talked to us behind the scenes.
Oh, there are
and said,
people who
"Listen,"
hate him.
They do. But you know what? They never say he's dishonest. They all say
I
he's
never
honest.
heard that.
Yeah,
No.
the guy is just an honest guy. He's a pain.
Well,
in the
whether
ass-
it be John or
pain in the
anybody
ass
else,
some-
we need new
he's a
blood
pain in
on the
ass sometimes
council.
to work with. But he's
Well,
honest.
since you're talking about hate, when it comes into politics, why can't people, win an election by, why do they have to smear?
I will
why do they
tell
have
you,
to make
this
lies?
country
before-
this country was divided with the Vietnam War, and it has never come back together.
Well, I'm just going to speak.
That's
to
where
Lori.
it started.
I'm just going to speak to Lori of Cameron. Lori, didn't you say that and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that Linda was bashing John right before?
Well, here,
we
let's
went
pull
on?
it up. I
Talking
can
about-
pull it up on the
talking
screen
about-
right now. And this is what I was relating to. If you will, move your head a little bit.
Me?
It's going to pop up behind you. Look, there we go, right behind your head. Don't
let you.
Don't let
don't
John-
let John. They should say, "Don't let John Petty stop the massive waste in overtime." That's what that sign should say. And Rusty's got
Don't
the
let
proof.
John Petty take your money.
Yeah.
Because
and
John's wanting to go
reroute
to
it
the
to
police.
usable.
And John
things.
brought up something yesterday that's very interesting. He said, and I've noticed this, not everybody on the streets is homeless. They are just vagrants that don't want to work and don't want to do anything. You see the young people with all these backpacks on. John brought that up yesterday in an interview. That these people are here, they don't want, and these people sleeping in doorways.
No.
Business people don't
Exactly
want them.
right. And let me tell you, I will tell you that in the background, and full disclosure, I just have a soft spot for Malcolm. I think he's a wonderfully honest guy and a decent guy. Sometimes I question some of the birds with whom he flocks, but I know I really do. But I just care for Malcolm deeply, so, and I think he's a good guy. But we had talked about, and you know, but nobody else knows, because I had done. Malcolm had asked me to do some work on the homeless and get some information, some background stuff. So Malcolm deeply cares about that issue, and he's doing what he can. What people don't seem to realize is that he is hamstrung. I call it the SCS, the Southern California Syndrome, where Sacramento vacuums up every dollar they can, puts these draconian laws. For example, he's such a sweet guy. Somebody had attacked him via email and said, you're just slouching on the job. You're letting people rob. No, that's a California state law that you, me, Rusty, Lori can go into any store, rob $949 worth of stuff.
$999.
Well, now it's $99. And then walk out the store while you're in line paying, or somebody's, and that's
I'm
not
in the wrong business.
That's not
Right.
Malcolm. But what I'm trying to get through, that's not Malcolm's fault. That's not any local mayor's fault. Certainly not Malcolm's, because that's a state law. He dumped on Prop 47. He said we're trying to change these things. But Malcolm, people don't always see what he does in the background. And I'm not on his campaign, committee. I'm just telling you what I know to be true. It's not Malcolm. It's not the most honest guy I think any of us have ever met, Joe Nails.
But
Oh,
it's always
yeah,
easy
Joe. I
to
love
blame.
Joe.
But the dead wood that's been there, and so that's what's got to go. I mean,
If I want to get any information, Joe will give it to me straight.
And he's
he doesn't.
always-
He doesn't give me bullshit. Excuse my French.
No, is that French?
Yeah.
Did you learn that in the Second World War? By the way, look, I want to just show you guys. Look at your U.S. Air Force.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Rusty and I can say this now, right? Rusty and I are going to be doing a show on Saturdays, and what is it called? What do we
Coffee
decide?
with Rusty.
Coffee with Rusty. And I
You
tell you
got
what,
coffee with a cop. You got coffee
even
with
if-
Carly. Now you got coffee with Rusty.
even if you take decaf, you're going to be fully caffeinated by the end of that. It's going to be an hour show, and it's just going to be Rusty and I sitting there and talking, and it's going to
There's
be
one thing,
every Saturday. But I just wanted to put a plug, because
I
it's starting.
know.
What are we starting this Saturday?
Is that?
Is it,
I thought y'all were starting it now.
Well, maybe,
Well,
but it's going to be Saturday. at 11 o'clock.
I didn't make the coffee though. We
But
rushed in
I'll
here.
make
Yeah.
the coffee, and we're going to be selling coffee. Eddie's going to have. Eddie and I were talking about this months ago, so we're going to do
Yeah.
that.
Now I know I'm the only Democrat here probably, and
You're the only Democrat that I can actually get along with and have a conversation.
well the
with.
thing
That
is,
and Manny, but Manny's
I have well
my
yeah Manny's a
fiance.
Democrat.
I'm
but-
a Republican.
I know, and but I tend more being.
But socially, you're pretty. You're somewhat conservative.
I am more libertarian.
Yeah.
And I've kind of weaned myself away from being a straight Democrat. However, in this town, All they do is complain about the Democrats, and this town has been run by Republicans since I first moved here 40 years ago.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Action Group, aren't they mostly conservative? And I'm a conservative.
Well,
yeah,
they're Republicans.
Okay, you didn't have to throw it.
Well, that's all right.
People like that make Republicans
They're
look
Republicans.
bad.
Yeah, well.
It's a
Yeah.
Republicans. Okay.
Now there's this thing about this homeless shelter. It started out.
Wait, I got to stop you. Can somebody tell us, please? Is it 115 beds?
No, it's
Is it
173, 273.
But we heard 430.
Yeah, but
Okay, now it's 273.
278.
Right
Did
now
you
it's
get that?
nothing.
Did you get that from an unimpeachable source?
I got it from John. Was here yesterday because
John Petty? Okay.
I heard about
That's
it.
a believable source.
And now what are we going to do? Are we going to be the insane asylum for the county of Riverside?
There we already are. They're
Well-
already dumping them all.
Well,
down.
we're the
you
dumping
might
ground.
start with the city council.
We're the we're the dumping ground. That's got to stop, and that's Chuck Washington's got to help us out with that. But this thing is a disaster in the making. I think.
Well, I think if Jeff Hewitt's selected, we'll have a good county supervisor.
That's a great
I
county
think he will.
supervisor. I would love Malcolm at some point for county supervisor.
Well, I love Malcolm, but
Good, I
Malcolm
do
is
too.
not he's not tough
Well, he's
enough.
not seasoned yet. But
He's not tough
But I think
enough
he'll get
for
there.
the
He
job.
said, look, this is his first elective office. It's been,
Well,
what,
of course.
a year and a half or something.
And you always notice that Carly's whispering in his ear.
I told him.
I monitor the
I told him early on. I said, "Watch you're in with sharks, and you're a little baby duck,
and
so watch
it
yourself."
gives the
But he's
appearance
a good
that
guy.
she's telling him what to do, and maybe she just helped him out. I don't know because I
Well,
like
do-
Carly.
I do
got
know
nothing
Carly
against
does
Carly.
that.
at all.
And I
Maybe
told
asking his
Malcolm,
shoe
I
size
said,
or
make sure,
something.
you listen to Carly. Carly will guide you what's
No,
right.
yeah, I have
I
no
said,
problem.
don't listen to the others.
I have no
No.
problem with Carly,
God
except
forbid.
I don't understand how she ran against Linda and now she supports her.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
understand
me.
that, but that's Carly's
was-
business, not mine.
I was shocked a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I asked
look,
her about that, and
and-
she said that she changed.
Well,
She,
But
so
what was the
I
comment?
once
Tigers
heard that a
don't change
leopard
their stripes.
doesn't change its spots.
there you go. He just said it.
just
And
took
I'll
it
tell
out
you
of
what,
my mouth.
I've been out of local politics and local writing and local everything for about 2
This
years.
is much better than yesterday.
Well, because I'm here, and whenever Eddie
Oh, is
and I
that
are
what it
together,
is?
yeah, whenever Eddie
This
and I are
city
together-
has been
Right,
taxed
Lori?
to death.
Right?
If you
Lori always
listen
said
to
that.
the city council, every time they do something new, they put a levy on something. Taxes and taxes and taxes
Yeah.
on the
No, it's
citizens.
gotta stop.
We're
It's
carrying
gotta
a load that I don't think other cities carry.
No, well, we are. And where does it come from?
And
when you have
where
San
is
Jacinto,
the money going?
San Jacinto, Russ Utz, and Andrew
We're
Kochuk, and
saving
these
it,
guys
remember?
that are
It's
forward
being saved.
thinking.
What
and
are we saving it for?
And their mayor.
Armageddon?
And what are we getting? What are we getting here? You can't get more Armageddon. You drive down the street. It's like all I need is a cartoon gun, and I think I'm in some kid's game.
Well,
a video
you don't
game or
you
something,
don't
man.
dare
It's
go down
brutal.
on any street in town after dark.
Now I will tell you this:
crazy.
it's never happened in the first 4 years that I got here. In the last 3 to 6 months. Now I live east. I'm way down. I'm in
You're way down in Val
Fairview.
Vista.
Yeah, Val Vista, Fairview Mobile Home Park. So you know where to throw the eggs if you don't like me from. None of this was planned.
Well,
I'm
I live
speaking
right in the heart of
completely off the
town.
cuff. Right. But what I'm saying is this: we now had just yesterday we had a van stolen. We've had 4 or 5 catalytic converters. Fairview Mobile Home Park is a well-run, clean, wonderfully managed spot. I want to say that on the record, but we are getting crime, and I mean not petty crime.
Better have
People
the
robbing
gatekeepers.
cars. We now have them, thank God. So those guys are great. They're actually meeting tomorrow. Today's the 3rd. Gatekeepers, I love them. And what's his name? The head of it,
Norman.
Steve. Steve's great. And so they're actually in the park now, and the park management has taken it upon themselves to drive around at night. Ray and Joni, that's there now running, they're great. What I'm getting at though is you never saw this. And so the crime is definitely up. It's now filtering down to places that you never had it before. And I've been there 4.5 years. So it's going. I do not blame Malcolm. You cannot have a guy, I don't care how clean and honest he is, if he's got no support, and if you're isolating the only other honest guy, it's a shame Russ is retiring, but the only other honest guy there is Joe Mill.
Joe Mill.
Fine, so you're going to isolate those guys, and you're going to wonder why nothing's still moving forward. You got to get a 3-2, 4-1 body on that body.
We
that
thought
can
we
win.
had a 3-2
Well, that's what you need.
change of venue over there until Carly
Flipped?
Flipped or whatever you want to call
I mean,
it.
from what you're telling
She,
me, I don't
but
know. I
she
don't have a
votes
thing
with
against Carly.
Linda on most things.
And I will
now.
say that Carly was incredibly
She was
accessible when I was at the paper. But I don't know. I'm going on what you tell me.
recently she hasn't talked to me. I don't know if she's got anything up, because I've always considered Carly friends.
Well, I hope on a personal level she's fine,
and
I hope
we
politically,
still are.
I hope
Because
she
I like Carly.
does.
And I
She
have
Probably
nothing
won't
bad
be
to-
after this interview.
Well, I have nothing bad to say about Carly.
No, you know.
Her decision to
Or
be
Roger.
supportive.
Roger's a good guy.
Don't bring him into it. He's not in
Just saying,
politics.
he's a good guy. I mean,
Yeah,
they're good
of course.
people.
But her attitude with Linda, if she thinks Linda's changed and come around to her thinking, that's between her and Linda, not me.
Okay, am I wrong? Now you said that. Let me ask you this real quick. If that's the case, then you would expect that Linda would be able to obviously see what you and everybody else is seeing and say, my God, you can't waste another penny on this awful, disastrous Measure U. But she's pushing Measure H. Wherever you see her signs, right next to it is Measure H.
Well, Measure U had its limits.
But
It
what
would sunset
I'm getting at
in
is I
2027.
don't think Carly is siding with Linda because Linda has changed, because it's to me apparent Linda has never changed. She's pushing for Measure H when Measure U's been a disaster. You don't have one extra set of feet on
the police and fire are pushing for Measure.
Look, I've always been Scott Brown. I've always been behind those guys. But I'm just saying this thing is a waste of money.
This thing is, where's the money going? Is it going to go to more
If you listen, you
overtime?
hear the large vacuuming up all the dollars. You know,
That's the question. Where
and
we
the only way it
we
stops.
need a forensic audit, and John
That's a
mentioned
wonderful
that yesterday,
idea.
and
Did
I
he?
think
Well,
it's
that's
true.
a wonderful idea. And am I right in thinking that the only way you get no Measure H and the only way that you start to get a handle on this money is if you have new blood on the council?
Yes, we
would you say-
need new people with new ideas. There's no question about it.
And I'm going to stop you both here on this Measure H. You know, people are like, I'm going to just, for example, I'm going to bring this back up. You know, I don't know how much money that they had to pay to put out this blaspheme on John. Every
it's
campaign,
I
they
hate
have to
the
do
hate
this.
campaigns. I hate
It's
it.
just, you know,
that's just so
just to
horrible.
vote for Linda. You know, John Petty's this.
And look-
John, let me stop you. Hang
Go
on.
ahead.
John Petty is not, folks, and I say this a lot of times. John Petty is not trying to defund your police.
No,
that is
no.
a lie.
No,
John
I've
Petty,
had conversations with him about that.
John Petty is wanting to make sure that Measure H is not going to happen like Measure U. He wants this money
oversight.
accounted
He
for.
wants oversight.
And he wants it to
oversighted.
go for public safety.
He wants to make sure our Hemet police and our Hemet fire get this.
I go back to the thing why I think Linda should not have run. She's part of the problem if there is a problem, and there is a problem.
Well, I'm going to just say it this way to make this real clear. If
She's
you
had a
like,
loud
if,
voice
if
on
you
that
like
council.
Linda, that's fine. I hope you take your medication. But besides, besides that, if
I get in trouble for what he says.
I'm
good because I'm not on the package or whatever I want. No, I don't dislike her personally. Actually, no. Anyway, so here's the deal. You can either vote for, if you like the way Hemet is and you love what's going on in Hemet right this moment, then you vote for Linda. If you want change, I wouldn't know Jackie Peterson if I fell over, but hey.
I was going to interview her.
Can it be any worse?
talked
So
to
you
her.
get John on there, you get Jackie Peterson, you get some new blood, and then you see what happens. I don't know that we can get any worse, so I think the only place you can go is up. That, to me, it's real simple. You either stay with what you've got for the last 15 years, or you go with somebody new and you watch these new people like a hawk. What I would love to see is a coalition between, and I said this to him.
We haven't had
Malcolm,
a decent
Joe
manager
Mail-
since Steve
Joe
Temple left.
Malcolm, Joe Mails, and a couple of really honest, strong people that are on there. And now you watch them like a hog. Maybe we would get my wish of a real city paper. I'm sorry. But a real newspaper in the city, which
Thanks
we do.
a lot for that.
I know, I
need
love
that.
you to death.
Boy,
but
he
we,
done slapped you.
He
up
does
there.
that.
Rusty.
I love you to death, but we don't have a paper. Come
Yeah,
on.
it sounded like he loves you like roadkill.
Yeah, he likes me like
I
roadkill.
love-
That's for
Oh,
I
sure.
love Rusty dearly, but we have no newspaper, and that's another thing, because the newspaper becomes the de facto citizen in toto. Why? Because now we're watching the people that each and every citizen, John Q and Mary Q public, can't watch. That's what the newspaper's supposed to be doing. We don't have one. We need a voice. And you need this guy to be on that new voice. That's me. He didn't ask me to say that. I didn't even know he was going to be here. So that's my point. And I have wonderful guy that would be in mind for the videography of the.
Who?
No, I really do. But I think you need to head a real newspaper, be the lead reporter, and maybe pose semi-nude for the logo. But I could be
please.
wrong.
Oh my God!
I could be wrong about that. But no, go ahead. Do you need to?
We're running out of gas
All
here.
right. You guys need to do any? We need to go. Are we good?
I just would like to
I'm good.
reiterate what I said before. I do not take cues from people on what questions to
And
ask.
to be real clear, I'm going to ask you: were you fed any questions or given any suggestions to ask John anything?
No. I didn't even know I was going to be here till an hour before the time.
Good
Right.
enough.
John didn't know I was going to be here. He
No,
was
he
surprised
wasn't.
when I showed up.
Gotcha. All right. Love you both.
And a lot of people too were asking. I'm gonna
And
go
I
ahead
look
and-
forward to
got
Linda
homework I
and,
gotta
and
do.
the other people that were supposed to be here tonight that decided to go elsewhere without telling anybody. And that, well, we turned out we had a pretty good show without them.
And let me just reiterate. I'll get the word out.
What are you going to do? Don't do it on me. What are you going to do?
So people were actually asking, "Hey guys, more of the same." That was Matthew McPherson.
Oh,
Douglas
Matthew.
McPherson says nobody showed up.
Doug,
Well, here's the scoop.
Douglas, thank
Let
you.
me give you guys the scoop on what happened. Okay, yesterday I hit up Linda Krupa, and I asked her, hey, we're going to be doing this with John Petty. We would love to have you to come. Oh, no, I have plans. I can't do it. Okay, not a problem, right? So today I get a phone call, and matter of fact, I was speaking with Mr. Hyatt over there at the Police Association, and Matthew Hyatt is definitely wanting us to help put out the word. I do support our police 100%.
Oh, I do too.
police and
that
fire.
law
Make
enforcement,
sure-
it would be worse here.
Exactly. And I told Officer Hyatt, who is, well, he's not an officer now, he's corporal detective now.
I was
but he's
brought
the
up to
president.
respect the police.
Right.
too.
I don't run from the cops, I run with the cops. But
Right.
anyways, I told Officer Hyatt, I want to do an interview with the Fire and Police Association. I want to make sure that you guys are getting out of Measure U what you guys supposed to be getting,
Right.
If this measure is not going to support our police and it's going to go into some other savings account, then no, I don't approve of it.
And clearly, I think Dave Prieto and Eddie Pust and former Chief Scott Brown. I mean, I met and interviewed them various times. I don't think any of us would ever say that they're wasting money or doing anything they shouldn't be doing.
Now the police,
Even detractors, by the
I
way, I will
think-
just say real
I will
quickly.
say one
wait,
thing.
Just Eddie, even his detractors will tell you Eddie Pust is doing an amazing
That's
job.
what I was going
Yeah,
to
he's
say.
doing an awesome
I was
job.
going to tell you.
So that's not in
I've
question.
talked to him.
That's
I
not
think
in
he's a
question.
straight up guy.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
he's in a position where he has to do what he's told to do.
Sure.
That's the way it is. And I think this city council has been too ballsy and not let people do their jobs. A lot of it.
Real quick, I want to ask you to the makeup of the city and the type of government we had. Larger cities. I came from Philadelphia. I covered city council. We used to have literally had fist fights here. You can look up Franny Rafferty, bless his
I
soul.
worked in Tom Bradley's campaign in the San Fernando Valley.
Angel Ortiz and Franny Rafferty
So
back
I've been
east.
around politics.
So,
there
but what
too.
I'm getting
Right.
at is, should we maybe go with a strong mayor type of government, which
I-
is usually for larger
Well,
types of local
did you
government,
read
but I
my
think-
editorial about that?
No, I
did an
didn't.
editorial not too long ago.
I didn't have the paper while I was.
Nobody
Well,
reads the
the
paper.
thing-
I'm sorry, I didn't have it while I was on the toilet.
Yeah, that's all right.
He lined his bird cage with it.
No, I talked about we need
No,
to
but-
we need to go with we have the ward system. We're partway there, but we shouldn't have a city manager. We should have. He's only responsible to the city council. We should have a mayor that's voted on by all the people, and
that's a
that
strong
he
mayor.
is
That's a different
responsible
type.
to the people,
Right.
not to the city council.
Right.
That's in larger cities usually, but I
Well,
think
it should
would-
be in any
I think
city.
it
I
would-
grew up in a
yeah,
town
I
about
think
the
it would-
size of Hemet, and we had
Well, normally
a
you say
mayor.
it
We
that
didn't
way.
have a city.
He
manager.
grew up in the hills, bro.
grew up.
In the hillbilly.
Yeah, I did. I'm up in a holler from Charleston,
I
West
got.
Virginia.
I love you both, but I got homework that I got to do.
And I
Back
gotta
to
go.
what I was
Wonderful-
saying
it was
real quick.
wonderful
You're
seeing
trying to
you.
cut my show off. Let me finish what I was saying
Go ahead,
about
go
the
ahead.
interviews.
Oh.
Anyways, back to what I was saying. The Hemet Police and Fire Association definitely wanted to be here tonight. And
I respect them for that.
and I do too. They actually communicated with me. Thanks, Officer Hyatt, right? So I get this message that, Linda Krupa, I told Linda, You know, they wanted to do this interview today, and I was kind of astonished when I woke up and found out that they wanted to do it today. But they basically, okay, we're going to do this at 5 o'clock or 5:30. I'm like, well, you got to check with me first and make sure I'm available.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
You know, it's got to be at my studio.
Exactly.
Because I had the 5 o'clock to 6:30 appointment at IDQ doing their promos, so I can do it at 7 o'clock.
You have your
We had the deal
toenails
buster.
done and
Yeah,
your
right.
mani-pedi, I think.
So
Well,
Rusty
you
and
were
I
deal
actually,
busters?
huh?
You were deal busters today?
Well, I actually went there earlier because I moved my schedule around to be able to fit them in, so I can get Linda and them in. Then I come to find
So
out,
you had to move your schedule around,
and Rusty moved his schedule around
Yeah,
to get
I had
them
other
in.
things to do when you called me.
And then I was told, oh well, we're not doing it. We already did it at the Firefighters Association.
Yeah, I saw that. That I saw a few minutes of it.
So I
Nothing-
came out in this chilly night for nothing.
And nothing,
Right.
nothing
We had a
against
good
Dave. I
show.
happened to see Dave Prieto there. That had all the excitement of a eulogy. That
I haven't
that
even
thing
watched
was
it
like
yet.
Deadly boring.
Matt
Well,
told me where
somebody,
it's
I'll
at.
tell you, somebody has to stand up for the people in the city. I moved out here. People ask me why I lived in a big city for so long. Why did I move out to a tank town? That's what I was told.
That's an
I
old
feel
town.
it's like a hometown. It's become a hometown to me.
Right.
My wife and 2 of my children are buried over here in this cemetery, and I've become. This is my hometown now, and I love Hemet, and I don't like to see it drugged through the mud, and that's what I see happening now.
Good for you.
And anybody out there, get in touch with me if they have any questions about anything they'd like me to look into, because I'm an investigative reporter and I like to dig.
And I'll tell you, I will just close on this, which I think is some of the coolest things. At 98, people are trusting you so much that
Scares me.
that they're not writing city council, not writing to Malcolm. You're the one that gets this anonymous letter. You're the one that gets at 98. I just think it's the coolest thing. I can't wait
Tell
till we
him
do
how you
this show.
met me. Tell him how you met
Okay,
me.
so I'll tell the story for everybody out there. I told it if you ever meet me, it's one of
Hang on, hang on a second, folks, because
Okay.
I ain't got my boots on, but I'm gonna put
No,
my feet
no,
up here because
Oh,
shit's
come
fixing
on.
to get deep
Oh,
over here.
yeah. You didn't watch. No, but no, this is a true story.
Go right
It's a true
ahead.
story.
Keep going. He's
So-
blocking
so
your microphone.
I came here in 2018. Everybody knows I had lost 3 people in 20 some months, and then 2 weeks after I got here, I lost my son. You know, Rusty was. We've spoken
lost
about
2
it
of mine.
at length. We've spoken about it at length. One of the reasons that he is such a stand-up guy, and I love Joe Mails, that he is so strong, and that we unfortunately share that.
We share
But
that.
but here's the thing. So I started. And so the rest of 2018 was a blur because I came out here May 15th, May 29th, my son passed in 2018. My wife had died July 5th of 17, which is my birthday. So in 22 months, I lost 4 people, and 4 of the closest people to me. Thank God my daughter and my son-in-law and my grandson back east are doing fine. But in
And
any
then you met me. You had friends.
and then in any event, so
And then
here's
his
how we
world
met.
flipped
Well, here's
upside
how
down.
we met. So
Funny.
April of 2019, I said, I love writing. I can never stay away from it. I've been doing it since I was 21. Every level of writing lyrics, poetry. I won a couple of poetry awards. I started my first newspaper at 21. I worked at my first real newspaper. Been doing it at that time 38 years. I'm just going to write for that. I don't know what the local rag is, but I'll write for it. So I met Eric Buskirk. First meeting that we have, Chris Smith is here, and Rusty, being the king or queen, here is at the other
me a
end.
break.
At the other end of the Rusty's at the other end of the table, and Chris Smith is just one of the sweetest guys in the world. And Chris and I had talked. He had my resume. He said, "Boy, this guy's great. He's got a couple of resumes, a couple of degrees from Rutgers, and he's in the Rutgers Honor Society." And here's Tom Jones, wonderful investigative reporter. Here's so and so, and this is and Ray. Rusty cuts him off. He says, "I'm Ray Strait."
No.
No,
he
what's
said,
going
he
on?
said, this is Ray Strait. And you said,
Wait, I said. Chris said he asked me to tell it.
wait, tell us
Chris,
what it was.
Chris was interviewing Chris was introducing.
This is
everybody.
worse than being in a room full of ladies
And
right
he-
here.
Well, wait. So he's telling me, and they're letting him introduce. When he gets to Rusty, he says, Ray says, "I'm Ray Strait. How you doing?" And I'm looking at Rusty, and I was here, and he was there. That's how close we were. And I'm looking at him. He says, "What's wrong? What's wrong, kid?" And I said, "Well,
Kid.
they did, kid." So I said, I was reading the books in the late 1970s and 80s because I'm a film buff, and I was reading the books of a Ray Strait in the late 70s and early 80s. But of course, you can't be him because by now he'd be dead. And before I could say dead, he said he'll be 95 this May.
Oh no!
You're looking, and you're looking
And
at
you're
him.
looking at him. And it was, and that's how I met.
That's
Rusty.
how we met.
How many books you say you got out?
He's
now?
got
38.
38
And
now.
I published my first
Tell them,
novel just recently.
tell them the name of the novel. We're going to
It's
talk
called-
about it Saturday. Because
It's Bughouse Blues.
and let me
Bug
tell
House
you,
Blues.
you can
I
look
like that.
online. Mark Lentine, Lentine. I wrote the review for,
Oh, it's got
for
a
Rusty.
fabulous review. of
And
the
let me
book.
tell you, and I will tell you this, and I always said this, I am blessed, and I mean blessed, to know the greatest writer in the city, and the great, not just in the city, in I'll say California, the greatest writer that I've ever met, and who lives here in town, and also the greatest storyteller in town. The greatest writer, pure writer, editor that I've ever met is Jim Hitt. His wife Vicky is also a wonderful writer. But
Jim's
Jim
great.
Hitt is a thoroughbred. I love Jim.
He used to be in my writing class.
And
That's how
Rusty is far.
Tina Rivas, he's taking over your job at the library.
And far and away, Rusty is the greatest. You cannot read a text from Rusty where you are totally into it. And I will tell you this: it's blue. Go online, order, buy Bughouse Blues. You can buy it at Amazon. It's really knocking them dead.
You can get it at
And
Amazon.
I will tell you.
You get it in Barnes
And I would say we're going to talk more about it Saturday.
Yeah, we will talk about
But
my
it's
books.
it's blue as all hell. It's got some parts in there you're like, oh. But I can tell you, I would put it right up there with Michener's Fires of Spring, an autobiography. Lisa, I would put it up there with the great autobiographical novels I've ever read.
Well, I gotta tell you,
Michener's
you're gonna
Fires
have
of
to
Spring.
carry me out on the stretcher because my head will be so big I can't.
I know, right?
Michener-
You're gonna have to put you on one of those neck braces.
Yeah.
to hold
James
your head.
Michener's Fires of Spring is one of my 3 favorite novels, but I am telling you
I
that
love that
Rusty, it's a wonderful book, and Rusty's Bughouse Blues, the sex just isn't there. It's on. I think it's better than anything Henry Miller ever did, and it's not there as gratuitous sexual
It's not
scenes.
there.
It moves
Sex
in-
is a part
It
of the
moves
story.
it moves the narrative along.
It's
and
a book about the rights
you-
of childhood growing up
in the
coming
30s. It's really your
Yeah,
story.
and
It's a
it's
wonderful piece of
story about a
storytelling.
kid who grows up on the streets
Yeah,
of Chicago during World War II.
And it's a wonderful piece of
And he's a
storytelling.
gay kid.
And
You
he's-
know, you can talk about that nowadays.
Right.
Maybe,
You couldn't.
maybe if the Congress changes, maybe you can. But
Well,
I'd love to have a banned book. Then I'd sell books.
There
Well-
you go, exactly.
But all right, it's good seeing you again. It's good seeing you again. I love you both, and I think we're good to go.
I think
But it's
we're
your
done
show.
here.
Why don't you shut it down?
I think he took over the show, Rusty. I thought this was the Rusty
Well,
Strait
yeah,
show.
and
I'll shut up.
tune in. We're going to do it on Saturdays.
Yeah, Saturdays at 11.
And Rusty's also going to do another segment called Growing Up Hillbilly.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah,
that was
we
my
should do
that's my autograph.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's
that-
my book
which
about
was
my
seri-
growing up.
Which was serialized in the paper when we had it.
I serialized it in the paper,
Yeah. Okay.
but I own it.
Yeah. So, anyways, to end this, ladies and gentlemen, we did give Linda Krupa plenty of opportunity to come. It looks like we're being dodged. I think she's scared of me and Rusty. Everybody else is
I can
wanting
hear
to
her
interview
now,
me.
scared. I don't think Linda's afraid of anything.
No, she's a strong woman.
Well, they said they did their live
I
interview
know,
at
I
the
know.
fire station.
But
they
they're staying
scripted
away
it.
from us. They're just telling each other what they want to
Well,
hear.
see, she said they scripted it.
Yeah, they're
so
telling each
I
other
don't
what
go
they
by
wanna
script.
hear. That's what it is.
Exactly. I don't go by
I
script.
don't think you
I
can get
just-
more unscripted than what we just
Well, we just went through a whole
Just-
hour unscripted.
Yeah.
And we did it last night.
We did
unscripted
the
with
same
John
thing
Petty,
yesterday.
too. So
Anyway,
All right, children. So we'll see you Saturday at 11 o'clock. I'll bring the coffee. I'll bring the coffee. I'll pick you up around 10:15.
that's fine.
All right.
I guess he's going to call it a date.
Well, I think.
Give me a break. I'm in enough trouble already.
Right. All right. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and let you guys go.
Oh.
Can I move?
No,
said
not
so
yet.
long
Well,
ago.
Rusty's already up and
Yeah, I
gone.
need
so-
that.
I'm his ride.
He's his ride. All right,
I'm
well,
the
guys,
old
y'all
one.
have a good one. And sorry we couldn't get them in. I guess Linda Krupa don't want to talk. So I guess you guys know who to vote for, right? All right. Well, you guys have
So-
a good one. We out of here.
That was good. You know, Laura, Lori, I didn't.
it was talky, wasn't it?
Not that I didn't think you were right, but
All right, guys, that was the interview that we did tonight. Let me turn this volume up so you guys can hear me. Turn the media down. Okay, there we go. Anyways, I was going to stay mutual in this political thing that was going on, but once I seen that they had to mail out these bullshitting flyers, that's when it gets, playing dirty. And if you got to play dirty to win the election, then that just shows me right there that you're dirty. And 12 years, come on now, you can't do it. Let somebody else do it. So yeah, I was going to stay mutual and just give everybody our platform to give their opinions. And of course, when I saw that, it's like, okay, they did this to Joe Mails, now they're doing it to John Petty, so that just makes me want to even vote for him more. And another thing on this too, I'm not going to say who told me, but a very reliable source that does a lot of news out here was telling me that it was being said that whoever runs against Linda Krupa, will make sure that they are going to be blasted. That don't mess with us type of deal. We'll put out all kind of blasting emails, and everybody's getting those already. Blasting mailers going out. How much money do they spend on those mailers? Waste of money just to go blast somebody's name. Why? So you can win an election. So yeah, that's my input on it. So you know what? I decided instead of being mutual, I'm gonna do like I did with Joe Mails. When they started doing those same thing, sending out all kind of accusations on Joe Mails, all they did was waste over $30,000 plus dollars of the city's money to do a re-election. So is that where your Measure U money's going? I don't know, but I know there is groups out there that has been supporting and paying for these mailing labels to go out. So it's bad that you got to do all this and go through all this just to win the election. So that just tells me right there, if they're scared of John Petty for some reason, well, then I guess Petty is the one you want in office, right? Because they don't want that change. So, Petty will do the change. So, well, if you ask me, I'm going to start pushing for Petty now, because I damn sure ain't pushing for Linda Krupa. You dodged me twice. I gave you that opportunity. I told you I was going to be mutual on this, but I guess you were still scared of our questions. So, you want to do your own platform and put out what content that you only want to get put out, and afraid of what we're going to ask. I'm going to ask community questions from the community to you. It's just not our questions, but, the community wants to know, and we're the voice of the community, and I guess you're scared of that. So, John Petty, I tell you what, I know you're probably watching this. Stay strong on this, dude. We all know the truth. God knows the truth, and if you got to smear somebody to win the election, well, then that person that's being smeared is who I'm going to vote for. So, you guys, make sure you mark that Petty on that ballot then, and make sure you tell the crazy guy with lazy eye said so. Appreciate all you guys watching this. We are going to be doing some more interviews from now on. We're going to be pushing more information out. We're getting a lot of details coming in. I'm working on somebody else right now to do another interview that I think has got a lot of important things to say about this. So I sent him a message tonight, waiting for him to answer me back, and I'm about 100% sure that he's going to take my offer and do an interview, because he said that he is not going to be silent, and he's going to tell people what they need to know, and his voice will be heard. So you know what? I'll be your voice. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and you guys have a good night. Make sure you share this video, and make sure if you got those mail-in ballots, go ahead and mark Petty, and let's get this over with, folks, and let Petty take care of the petty stuff in the city. Like I say, he's not against Measure H. We have 4.5 years to actually reconstruct Measure H to make sure that it is in writing that the police and fire gets the money. Nobody else, no other departments in public safety. We need police and fire. That's all should be getting out of that money. If you can do that, reconstruct it, then we'll support Measure whatever it comes up to be. and we'll vote yes. But right now, Measure U was a bunch of destruction. We don't know what the police got out of it, but I guess hopefully we'll find out. I'm still working on trying to get an interview with the Police Association and the Fire Association, because I want to hear from them on what they actually got out of it, and I got some questions that the community wants me to ask. So hopefully they'll follow through, and hopefully, sorry it didn't happen with Linda Krupa. We gave her 2 opportunities to come to our platform, but I guess she's scared. So, well, y'all don't be scared to vote for Petty. Y'all have a good night. See y'all later. Make sure